What is up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the Jordan Davis Podcast. I am your host, Jordan Davis, and on today's episode, be talking about the first episode of Loki. I'm going to be giving you my review, my thoughts, what we can expect from the show moving forward, and how it can impact the MCU. But before we get into that, I want to thank everyone that watches my videos and even listens to my podcast on Spotify and all kinds of podcast platforms. You can find my podcast, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank you all for watching. And if you're new here, I do DC, I do Marvel, I do Star Wars, I do all kinds of movies, all kinds of blockbusters. I love them all, so I talk about them, all of them. So if you like that kind of thing, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell at the bottom so you know when all my videos come out. So I would greatly appreciate it, and that would help me out. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into Loki. Now, I have to say right off the bat, the first episode of Loki is pretty much my favorite, premiere of the Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus. Favorite first episode. Now, I haven't seen the second episode like other critics has, and they even say it's better than the first one. But for me, this is my favorite because I think what we can all expect from these Marvel Disney Plus shows, they're always going to have a different kind of feel, a different kind of tone. Like WandaVision, that was like paying homage to like 50s, 60s TV sitcoms. Falcon and Winter Soldier was kind of like a buddy cop, kind of political Winter Soldier kind of thing. And I think with Loki, this is kind of like going on a multiversal adventure, which I love. And I don't know if it was just the writing, because Michael Walden is doing the writing for this show, and he's doing the writing for Doctor Strange too. But I think he really nailed the first episode, because I think they perfectly blend humor, the Marvel Studios, iconic kind of humor that they like to do, and also they had some seriousness to it as well. We really got to figure out who Loki is. And it's really interesting that it took one episode, at least for me, to really have Loki be one of my favorite characters in all the other movies he's been in. Because I liked the character of Loki, but he wasn't really my favorite. And obviously they were trying to, make him, humanize him throughout the movies. But really, because this Loki is from the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. Obviously he's, the villain. He's very villainous, he's very arrogant, prideful, and egotistical, as we seen right in the beginning of this episode. And obviously Tom Hiddleston has great chemistry with Owen Wilson in this first episode, which really really helps the show, because there's a part of the episode where they're just talking. That Owen Wilson's trying to get the character of Loki, and as they're doing that and as they're talking, it's really with Loki, you're really figuring out his character, because he's putting the facade down and he's being vulnerable, and we have never seen that from Loki. Obviously, it took a lot of films until he died in Infinity War. Spoiler alert. But let's be honest, if you haven't seen Infinity War, I mean, it's not my fault. But when he dies, it's kind of a big thing because everyone's a big Loki fan, and so once you get into this episode, like I said, this episode does so much for the Loki character because I am finally invested with Loki. Right? They're finally giving Loki some good screen time. And really putting the facade down of the mischief, God of Mischief. And actually showing us the real Loki, how vulnerable he is. And when it's in this room, Owen Wilson's trying to get to know him, and as he's trying to get to know him, we're kind of in his shoes. He's kind of like talking to us, kind of a thing, like who he truly is. Like, he doesn't like to kill. He doesn't want to kill. He doesn't want to hurt people, but it's kind of in his mind. I have to keep the illusion up. That's how damaged he truly is. That he has to keep a facade. He has to keep a mask up so much, like, to make us believe this is true, who he really is, but he really isn't. And I love that they went into that so quickly, because obviously you would, go, a lot into episodes until that finally happened, but they did in the first episode. And so I love that they did that. I really did. And really, it made me like the character so much more. I finally can put Loki as my favorite characters. And obviously, I think throughout this series, they're going to make him kind of back to what he was in Infinity War, kind of an anti-hero. Not totally a hero, but not totally a villain. He's done with being a villain. And so it's going to be very interesting what Marvel Studios does with this Loki series and how it's going to change the MCU. And obviously, it's going to, help with Loki's character. But like I said before, I think it was the last podcast that I did, how the Loki TV show could change the MCU forever. And if you want to check that out, it's on the channel. But after watching the first episode, I truly believe this is the show that would truly connect to No Way Home, truly connect to Multiverse of Madness. Because, like I said in my last video, if Kevin Feige never said that WandaVision was going to be part of the multiverse arc, you couldn't tell. Maybe towards like the very, very, very end. But Loki is more likely to be involving like timelines and alternate universes and dimensions and multiverses wars, as they say in an episode. The TVA tries to prevent multiverses wars. And so I think whatever happens at the end of Loki, it's going to affect big time with what's happening with the two movies that is No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. I truly believe that. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think whatever he does will be will be the cause of what's going on in No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness. And yes, Wanda will also be a big part of that as well. But I think Loki is gonna have his part in this craziness and this madness that's going on in the multiverse as well. So, I think my final thoughts about Loki, I thought it was a great opening episode, great dive into the character, going right into it, and I love that. I love that about how quick they did, and I think Tom Hiddleston was great, Owen Wilson was great. I'm glad he's in the MCU because I've always been a big fan of Owen Wilson as an actor. And so he really brings his talent into the show, and it shows. And I can't wait to see what happens this week for episode 2. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see more episodes, and I'm excited how this show is going to affect, No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, how that's going to change things, but also how much Loki's character, changes throughout the episodes. So yeah, I think that's my final thoughts. I would give it, an 8 out of 10 for the first episode, for sure. An 8 out of 10. I think that's how good it was. So I've at least seen it about 2 times. So I think I have a good aspect of the show in about how much I really liked it. So I give it an 8 out of 10. But yeah, that's my rating. But what about you? What did you think in the first episode of Loki? Did you like it? Did you give it a high as a rating as me? I mean, what were your takeaways from this first episode and how the Loki could change the MCU as we know it? So I would love to hear from you in the comments below, so we can discuss it and just talk about it. So yeah, I would love to hear from you. So yeah, so this is going to be the end of the video and the podcast. I want to thank you all for taking your time to watch this video, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.